Now this is how you pump somebody up for a collision. Sounds dodgy. But we saw Kenny Omega and Ethan Page doing their pre-collision promos, and then we went through all the Continental Classic people who are also going to be involved, and everybody was just like, I'm going to win, I'm the best. I sat there and I felt it in my bones. I was ready. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to another episode of Ups and Downs. And because people keep messaging me about it, yes, I grew a beard. That's it. It's not that interesting. And one day, I'll pop up on a video and the beard won't be there anymore. And everyone will go, whoa, he got rid of the beard. Not gonna lie, quite enjoyed it. I never thought some facial hair could cause so much noise. Let's up those downs. And we will get right into the C2 because look at this. It was Claudio Castagnoli versus Eddie Kingston. And one, they hate each other. This is like a forever feud. And two, Ed had to win here. Otherwise, he was probably gonna be cancelled. When I say that, I mean it was do or die because of course he did lose to Bryan Danielson last week. So now he was coming fighting out of the corner. Claudio was like, I don't care. There's only two things that I really hate in pro wrestling. Amateurs and Edward Kingston. I mean, they quite literally ran at each other to begin with when Eddie was doing dives and all of a sudden he hit a Northern Light suplex for a 1-2-ooh. So Claudio's like, ha ha, you want to do that to me, do you? Well, I'm secretly Sagat, and he gave him the uppercuts. He also hit a neutralizer for a near fall when they were just trading like crazy people, and mostly it was this noise. And do you know what that noise is? Chops. Castagnoli eventually got bored of that though, so he got the giant swing right into the sharpshooter, and I tell you, that's his brand new favourite signature move. Kingston was able to get to the rope, so of course Castagnoli then came back with more strikes. And even though Eddie was like, I'm gonna chop you, eventually Claudio was like, this is, hey, my skin. He just took his head off with a lariat, like he'd been guillotined. The hammer elbows then came, as well as more Sagat uppercuts, and at this point, if you were an Eddie Kingston fan, you would start to get scared in your tootsie toes, because it looked like he was going to get his ass whipped. Somehow though, from nowhere, he did bust out an enziguri when he locked in the stretch plum, so all of a sudden we were on the other side of the fence going, oh my gosh, Castagnoli, now you're in trouble. So this was the best, most brutal game of wrestling tennis ever. And then traded bombs of power as Claudio went for the crossface, and all of a sudden we were told, there's only 5 minutes left, so I was getting a little bit worried. Once again, Claudio Castagnoli was just spamming the X button because he loves these uppercuts. It was great though because I totally bought it, especially after one, which got an amazing 1-2-ooh. Then if you can believe it, they were kind of both going for the power bombs when Claudio hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, when Eddie Kingston reversed it and he must have applied the right kind of force. He got the 1-2-3. Look, I went crazy because I love Eddie Kingston, but I also love Claudio, so it's like watching my two children fight. What? It really did feel massive though, especially because Ed just got one over his massive rival. I know I keep talking about this, but if I don't have anything to talk about, I love this Continental Classic. There's just something about a tournament that gets me excited in my tum-tum. This is absolutely getting it up. What happens now? Well, I tell you, John Moxley cut a promo because he was like, listen, Swerve Strickland, I have to fight you next in this damn C2, and you're gonna have such a long night. You better bring a packed lunch. Just laughing away. He literally told his opponent to bring a sandwich. Hook was also chatting to Renee Paquette as well because she wanted to know what was going on with Wheeler Yuta, and Wheeler Yuta must have been right here. He just walked in, I said, I tell you what's going on, I don't like this wonderfully haired guy. He also called Hook a paper champion, so Hook was like, dude, you cheated to beat Shibata to win that Pure Rules championship, and Wheels got so annoyed, he was like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, I'm going to defeat you at your own game, because we're gonna have a match, and it'll be FTW rules. Now, I'm not 100% sure if the belt is on the line, no one really said anything, but I like this feud. It's been going on for a while, and now we're going to pull the trigger. Before that, though, we did have somewhat of a blow-off or extend of another feud that's been going on. It's Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Martinez. Demonte is still Mercedes' best friend as well, so she came out to ringside, and I was shouting at my television, hey, ref, don't let Diamante be there. She is definitely going to cast interference. What did this ref do? Diddly squat. What did Diamante do? She distracted. Now thankfully Willow didn't really care and she was able to murk Mercedes for a while until they went on the outside. Diamante just leveled up to crazy powers. That did distract Nightingale. And where did she get thrown into? Flubbing Barry Barricade. Mercedes then tried to kill Nightingale with this crazy suplex to the floor. Though actually, Willow came back with the Three Amigos when she just squished Martinez right into the mat. That's when we got our first 1-2-ooh. A little bit like, well, I tell you, I don't actually know who's going to be victorious here. Sadly, though, once again, Diamante was being an absolute buffoon, so Willow was like, oh, I've got to go and deal with you. So Mercedes was like, all right, well, I'm going to dish out every single suplex you've ever seen. We had a fisherman, a suplex, a T-pone, and a back one. They still wasn't able to keep Willow Nightingale down, But I was like, well, Diamante's still here, so what are you going to do? They really did feel like it wasn't going to go Nightingale's way too, especially when she got hit with this crazy dominator from the top rope. In fact, it was so nuts, you got to go and see it. But then, when they kind of both collapsed on the canvas, from nowhere, Willow hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and she got the 3. This is honestly what I was doing. I mean, her joy didn't last all of that long, because of course Diamante then jumped in the ring and the bad guys beat her up when Chris Statlander came to make the save. I was like, Chris, where were you? You must have seen what Diamante was doing. I give in. Either way, there's bound to be a future tag team match between these 4, which is fine. A little bit strange that Chris has totally forgotten about the TBS Championship, but you know what? It's her life up. I do have to say though, something did stand out like a sore thumb, and you will have to forgive me here. But we did not need 2 matches back-to-back with the surprise roll-up, especially because Willow could have just hit the bell with the powerbomb and gotten the 3, and I don't think anybody would have cared. Mercedes Martinez can lose, she's a badass. No would have been like, man, what absolute goober you are, so that's got to get her down. And look, there's nothing wrong with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, but you don't have to overdo it. This is when I spied out into the crowd, and what did I see? Someone had a lovely sign, and it said, Simon, give me an up. So I am nothing but your humble servant, so of course you do get an up, and as I always say, and I always will say until I drop dead, this makes my day. I shall now smile until Tuesday at least. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The real joy, though, of this AEW Canada weekend was Mack Menard and Angelo Parker, because as you're going to see in just a few seconds, when they came out for their match, they just had a wonderful hometown welcome, and once again, made me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Jake Hagar was here too, and he said, I can't possibly go out to ringside with you, my friends, because Danhausen stole my hat, and what is a man without his hat? I was like, I understand, Jake. I understand. It all then totally got out of control because Ruby Soho was here wearing Angelo Parker merchandise, when Saraya and Anna Jay also joined, and Saraya was like, let me see what's on your t-shirt, young lady. Oh, surprise, surprise. You're going to abandon me like Tony Storm did. And Ruby was like, no, I'm not. You got a match next week with Rio, and I will make sure I'll be in the corner the whole time. Anna Jay was just there like going, she didn't say a damn word. So obviously this is going somewhere, but ultimately the Outcasts do have to split up now. I was one of the few that actually thought they were all right, but yeah, it's past its sell-by date now. We're planting the seeds. We then got this amazing promo from Swerve Strickland, because of course he is taking on Moxley, and he was just like, listen to me, man. 1, I'm just as dangerous as you, Jonathan, which is true. Don't forget that Texas death match, but also 2, I'm gonna win the C2, and I'm gonna become the world champion. I was like, he should definitely do both of those things. Right now, he is on fire. When Willie Mack thought he could best Wardlow, no. I can't get mad because this is exactly what AEW should have been doing. Wardlow was beating up nobodies for a while, but now we are bringing in named talent. You can go, oh my gosh, it's that guy. Although, I don't know what Mack's plan was. He tried to dive at Wardlow. Instead, he just got punched right in the head. When I say that he basically got headbutted too, and he tried a single leg takedown, but that was never gonna work. But the best bit is that Willie Mack went for a damn head scissors, and he's a big guy, and Wardlow caught him in midair and slammed him down with the powerbomb. I was like, how the hell did he do it? From here, it went down the usual pathway because Willie got slammed with the lariat and he got hit with the bomb of power. And this is when the referee was like, ha ha ha, I'm just going to say you can't continue. Now look, I get it when we were doing this with so-called jobbers. I don't like that term, but you know what I'm referring to. But I think if you bring in a Willie Mack, Wardlow could have just pinned him and that would have been fine. However, Wardlow is on a brand new path at the moment. As long as it culminates with something cool, this will be fine. Otherwise, we will have fallen into path territory again. I don't want to do that. It doesn't really help. It just makes it all so confusing, but it's getting an up. I like Wardlow, and I tell you, I like Willie Mack. Then I had this big old video for FTR versus the House of Plaque, and please let them fight at the World's End pay-per-view, because it'll be so damn good. When we got reminded that after the last pay-per-view, Chris Jericho got attacked by Big Bill and Ricky Starks, scratching my beard here, so maybe we're about to go back to that soon. It also tied in too because Kenny Omega was then out. Of course, he's Chris Jericho's best friend these days, and he was taking on Ethan Page. This just gets a massive round of applause. I thought it was absolutely fabulous. Because look, we all know the deal with Kenneth. He is one of the best ever. Yes, you can now yell at me in the comments. But this Ethan Page recently, not only is he totally smashing it down in Ring of Honor, but he has got himself mega jacked. We can just get him some momentum here, which I think he does have, and find the best way to present him I tell you should let him fly. They went back and forth here too before Omega did smack Page with an elbow, but when he went for a dive, Ethan was like, well, I don't appreciate that. And he actually cut him off. You also saw Tony Nese watching this on from the back, because don't forget, come this Friday at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, it is Ethan Page taking on Tone. So these guys are really busy. We're then throwing each other into Barry Barricade because no one cares about him, which is when Kenny took it to the next level, because he stood on Baz and he did a moonsault. Now look, did this look cool? Of course it did, but come Christmas time, you're not gonna go up to your Nan and say, oh Nan, just bend over a second, I'm gonna somersault off your back, so why are we doing it to Mr. Barricade? Exactly. But then had another suplex to the outside, which was also nuts, when Ethan realised, oh my gosh, I may be more powerful than Omega, so he started going for that when he jumped in the air. Omega just ruined him with this knee. This is what he did to me. He really hit him hard. He followed up with a V-trigger for a great 1-2-ooh, and this is when I was shouting at my TV, because well, of course Kenny Omega is going to win. What if he doesn't win? And what if Ethan Page is victorious? Well, that's not going to happen. And I realised I was having an argument with myself and I had to stop. Shut up. Page wasn't going to go down without a fight though, so he hit an iconoclasm of all things and this DDT for another near fall. So somewhere Jake Roberts was annoyed. When it happened again, because Kenny went for the "you can't escape," but Ethan Page escaped. So what am I meant to do with that information? It is 2 + 2 = potato. My whole life is a lie. Kenny was still able to get the Snapdragon, which was also absolutely crazy. When I tell you, Page hit this avalanche slam, and it was the final 1-2-ooh, and that's where I knew where we were going. But man, did I bite on that. I think secretly I wanted Ethan Page to win. He also went for his finish, but it's never going to happen when he got hit by 2 V-triggers and went right into the one-winged angel when we got the 1-2-3. But afterwards, they both kind of endorsed the other, or Omega endorsed him. Honestly, it was just such a good match and proved that Ethan Page can go. So now we wait and see. But it is getting it up. We also sort of did protect Ethan Page as well, because Nigel McGuinness on commentary was like, well, don't forget, on Ring of Honor, he was through a table on Friday. So he's probably a little bit beaten up. And right after this, when Kenny was going, woohoo, I did it, Big Bill appeared. He teleported in from the Starship Enterprise. Big old Bout. There you go. World's End is a few weeks away. I think we're going to do the tag title match. DJ Perry was then being interviewed by Lexi Nair, and she was all like, all right, Andrade, my man, he's going to win the C2. When Miro walked in, a little bit uncomfortable. Because he was all like, what are you doing? You should stay at home and I should be the breadwinner. And CJ was like, man, you came on national TV and started calling me out. It's like, man, this is like marital problems just being aired on TV. When Miro once again promised he won't touch Andrade until the Continental Classic is over. That's like me telling you I shaved my head because I just like the way it looks. I don't think he's telling the truth at all. We shall see. The madness then continued because we had a spooky off. I think that's what it must be called. So we are going to get a match between Julia Hart and Abaddon soon for the TBS title. So Julia was here being all spooky wookie, when Abaddon appeared being spooky wookie too. So I just want to say that these two rule, because I love stuff like this. I mean, one, Julia Hart has been a standout in 2023, and as I shall tell you, every time they are on television, Abaddon is like the most dedicated person ever when it comes to gimmicks. That makes me happy. More people should do that. I will look forward to this match. When somebody must have gone, wait a minute, we need more flippy-dippy-doo-dah stuff, and we got it. Good. And it was doubly special because, yes, it was Commander with a K and Penta taking on Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, and as I just told you, when they came out, they got the hometown welcome. It just filled me with glee. The only real surprise is that they lost. Now, I understand the pecking order here, but the fans were so annoyed when they realized it was going to happen. Everyone was going, boo, boo, boo. Maybe we should have switched it. It was really fun, though, because Penta was just running around booting Matt Menard in the face to begin with when Parker and Commander with a K tagged in. But again, the luchadors were just way too click. They were running amok. They also did this absolutely crazy monkey flip where they were basically using each other as weapons. Although soon after that, Commander was in there and Matt Menard and Angelo Parker beat him up. Thinking because they saw his name on the screen, they're like, wait, he spells it with a K? That pisses us off. It of course just meant eventually he did get the hot tag to Penta. You know the deal with that guy. He doesn't move, he taunts. He doesn't move at taunt. He hit some super kicks, he hit the sling blades, he hit the Made in Japan, and that looked like it was going to be it. Actually, Menard broke it up at 1-2-ooh. He then had a great idea, because he was like, well, I used to be friends with Chris Jericho, so why don't I apply the Walls of Jericho, which he did. When I tell you, Cool Hand Ange and Daddy Magic did this like dual double team codebreaker combo, and it was damn good. When that didn't work, I actually got mad. I was like, that's a great finish. Instead, the masked guys just got rid of Matthew, and then poor Parker He got put in the Made in Japan position, that's Commander with a K, did his ring walk, and they just slammed him into the floor. And unsurprisingly, they got the 1, 2, 3. That was like death. But look, this was a very, very entertaining match. Even more so because, like I keep telling you, the fans were just so damn into it. I'm giving it up. Keep them all on TV. You also then got reminded that it is going to be Shane Taylor versus Keith Lee at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and thank Flubbins for that. I've been waiting for it. And it's Winter is Coming on Wednesday. How the hell did that come around so fast? Dig my grave now. But before you do get your shovels, I just need to tell you about Bryan Danielson and Andrade in the C2. I mean, this Bryan Danielson, man, some people don't think he's one of the best ever, and I call those people crazy. He's also had so many stories going into it, because one, we have Metal Gear Bryan Danielson with his eye patch, because his eyeball is all ruined, but also, depending on the result, Daniel Garcia was essentially going to be eliminated from the tournament, and I tell you, that has happened. And if you saw Rampage, you saw him versus Danielson, that ruled too, and when Bryan was done, he spit on Garcia. So what a terrible weekend he had. Of course, when it came to Andrade and the Dragon, they wrestled to begin with, before they laid in the hardest punches ever. When Andrade started doing these dragon screw leg whips things, and the way Bryan sells these, you actually think his leg is going to come off his body. He was able to dodge the double knees though when he threw Andrade onto the outside, which is when Mr. Tranquilo decided, oh, you like Metal Gear Solid, do you? And he removed the eye patch and he started to work on Danielson's seeing device. I was like, Andrade, you're totally unhinged. It was even more crazy because Bryan was then bleeding from the damn eye, which means if we go into the narrative, Andrade had decided, I don't care if I blind this fool, because I want 3 points in the tournament. Now, Bryan Danielson is going to have a long chat with Rey Mysterio. Now, he did switch to the legs for a little bit because he applied the figure eight, but when Danielson got to the ropes, he was quite literally ripping at the eye socket. I tell you, this has got to be 18 rated entertainment. It really pissed Bryan off though, because he came flying out with once again the hardest punches you've ever seen as he got Andrade onto the floor and he applied the label lock. But even then, there was just so much blood coming out of his eye. And when he did this later, he grabbed Andrade's arm and he pulled it back so much. I need someone to tell me how you do that and not break somebody's limb. Disgusting. This thing became just another amazing back and forth as we were told, oh my gosh, 15 minutes has passed. And at this stage, I was like, are they going to go to a draw? We haven't had a draw at the moment, but at least they still get 1 point. There was then this mega tease because Andrade just leveled Bryan with this damn back elbow, which of course went into his flying red eye wound. And this is when we were told there are only 3 minutes left, and it actually got my adrenaline going. So this format just rules. It also set something off within Danielson because he just went nuts. Maybe he was hungry or something, and he heard John Moxley talking about picnics earlier. But it didn't work because once again, Andrade scored with that back elbow when he set Danielson out in the corner but in reverse to hit the big old running knees, and that meant Bryan's head went right into the turnbuckle, and then he did it again the other way. So that is it, his head was dead. It also meant he was able to grab the Dragon and just give him the hammerlock DDT, and he beat him for the 1, 2, 3. But listen to what I just say, it must have been the right move, it rhymed. All the doctors in the Blackpool Combat Club came out to check out on Bryan as well. That's when people who were live started tweeting going, oh my gosh, Bryan Danielson's probably injured again. But nope, he was working us all because he is the greatest. And now, of course, this will tie into the Continental Classic overall. And if he's not victorious, he can probably go, well, what did you expect? Look at me, I'm a pirate. And that is a pretty good excuse, only had one eye. And look, Andrade was great here. Bryan Danielson is just next level. It's absolutely giving it an up. And make sure you give me this tournament every 12 months. I need it in my life. It also means when we get to the end of the collision, it gets an up overall. And actually, this show is rocking and rolling right now. But before you do leave, make sure you click up and down for WWE SmackDown to support the whole show. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. Take care of yourself. See you soon. Goodbye.